Hello, everyone. This is Nicholas Ellis joining you this afternoon. We are going to talk about Aspergers today and talk about transitioning from high school to adulthood. I will share my experience a little bit. I graduated in high school in 2005. I went on to the technical college, CBTC it was called. I graduated from the office assistant program in 2006. A little bit about myself. I'm from northern Wisconsin. Like I said, I graduated in 2005. Um, the transitioning into adulthood can be kind of a struggle, but you just stay calm and take a deep breath. I'm not going to try to overwhelm you with information today, but I'm just going to talk about it. Just going to talk about and share my experience. So after high school, I graduated. I did a part-time summer training, on-the-job training up at a Wisconsin park, a Wisconsin state park. That was a on-the-job experience, on-the-job training experience, doing maintenance, and we discussed me doing maintenance, and so I did that for a summer. It was a good experience. It was a good learning experience. Let's put it this way. It was basically a lot of janitorial duties and stuff, but I will tell you, it was kind of a struggle. But I showed up every day. I did everything: the cleaning, maintenance, just about everything. That was about 16 years ago. So yeah, I don't remember too much. But in then fall of 2006, I graduated from the office assistant program. I looked for a job for about 6 months. That summer of 2007, I found a job at working at a factory. That was like the night shift, 11 p.m. to 11 a.m. Um, I didn't do so well in that job. I don't know. It was just wasn't the right fit. I mean, it was a good job for some people with Aspergers. Working at a factory is just fine. It works great for them. But like I said, everybody has different abilities and talents, and just everybody's so gifted and have so many good talents when it comes to their Aspergers. And it's like I've said before, some of you may like hunting and fishing. Some of you may like skiing and stuff. You could probably get a job in that industry too. Um, for skiing jobs around here, I don't know what there is. Um, I don't know much about. Um, and there's also called programs called the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, and I'm sure every state has this. I'm not. I don't know how the programs work in other states. I know here in the state of Wisconsin, if you get Social Security disability, it's pretty easy to get in to the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. They will help you get a job and help you keep a job. With my job search and stuff, I did qualify for the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. Um, uh, but I actually got the job before I was with DVR. So in a way, it was a little bit more advanced. Some of my interviewing skills. The key here is to transitioning to be an adult. Um, you can overcome your anxiety and fears. You can overcome this and overcome that. If you put your mind to anything, my friends, you will do great. It's my experience. I've worked in the retail industry primarily the grocery industry for the last 13 years. I worked in the, now I'm working at a new store. I don't want to give any names of the location, but it's a great company to work for. Um, Great company. But retail is not a job for everybody. With Asperger's, just like maybe you don't like driving car. That's fine. It took me till about when I was 18 years old to get my driver's license. Nothing wrong with that. Take your time. Take your time getting your driver's license. I mean, it took me 10 years to learn how to drive in the big cities here in Wisconsin. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Just take things at your own pace. Um, Adulthood can be a struggle. I mean, I'm married. Um, I don't give dating advice or friendship advice. I may give some friendship advice, but dating advice, I don't give dating advice. That's just something I don't feel comfortable doing. Um, but I mean, if you do have questions, I just launched a new support group today. Aspergers, uh, transitioning to adulthood. This is where we will talk about this stuff more. But it's cool. I run a few groups, but we need to be aware of what's going on out there. We need to be aware for like, I mean, even going to into adulthood. I mean, out in public and stuff. I mean, there are many support groups out there. Um, Actually, it would probably be nice if we could just start our own support group, meaning just something new, so there's more advocacy. I believe we need to have more advocacy out in public for autism. Like the other day, I was at work and one of my coworkers was joking around with me, and I took it very literally. I mean, she's like, "Nick, you don't have to be so serious." And I mean, I should have told her about my Asperger's, but I didn't really feel like it. I mean, you can disclose it. You don't have to disclose it. It's one of those things where it's pretty much up to you if you want to disclose it. Um, my best advice would be is there are many support groups out there for adults with disabilities. I will look more into the autism and transitioning into adulthood. I'm actually going to look that right now. Sorry about that. I do kind of have a timeline I do and a follow for this, so I'm not just talking on and on and on, which I'm known to be good for. Um, Research shows that half of young adults on the autism spectrum are not successfully transitioning into adulthood. Accessible transition would a person has a role to play in society through employment or pursuing further education. For example, you may go on for office assistant. I know some people. I was friends with some people on Facebook that went to school to be a doctor. I mean, that's really cool. But not everybody can be a doctor or a police officer or whatever you want to go to school for. Um, the change can be difficult for people with Asperger's or autism spectrum. Um, the change was kind of difficult for me. It was very stressful, but I mean, if you got a good family and a good support group, I mean, now we have Facebook and social media. Back in 2005, we didn't have Facebook and social media for support groups and stuff. So things actually have got better for people with the autism spectrum and Asperger's. I prefer calling it the old diagnosis, but it don't matter really. Um, most people with Asperger's syndrome can struggle in adulthood. I mean, I do. I struggle with communication at work, communication with people or with family members in general. Um, it's one of those things that people need to be aware of. We need to. I wish there was more people out in the community that would know more about it to understand us. That you know we do have feelings. Us autistic people do have feelings. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes we show it in a different way. You may show your feelings in a different way. That's just how we are. That's just how we're wired. I mean, that's not a bad thing. We do have emotions. Um, some people say that we don't. That's not true. It's a bunch of yeah. It's just don't listen to them. Um, the road to adulthood officially begins when teens graduate from high school. This would apply to people with Asperger's too. Finding their first job. Some states offered work experiences for people with disabilities. That's one good thing about living here in the United States. I'm not sure what other countries do, but I may do a little research on that and maybe do a video for my international members. But for people with autism and their families, leaving high school is more monumental step. One that will transform the relationship, services, and supports. Um, in the coming years, an unprecedented number of students with Asperger's or autism spectrum disorder will leave high school and begin their tradition to or transition to adulthood, not tradition. Um, an estimated 50,000 Americans with ADD each year, or ASD, Asperger's or autism, each year, a surge of children diagnosed in the 1990s. So that's quite a bit. I think they say one out of every 58 now has autism. Um, what does it mean by transition? When you get to 18 or 21, it's like falling off a cliff. I don't mean that literally. We do a great job educating, or people do a great job educating parents about what's going on, what's going to happen after high school. That can be a struggle, but just stay calm here. There are solutions to this. That is when systems must begin helping these students plan for life after high school. That usually begins at 16 years old. Um, Such as college, work, vocational training, independent living, and adult disability services. Teachers will ask students their special interests. Your special interests could be maybe you like science or biology, or maybe you like history, or maybe you're good with numbers. Maybe you can go to school to be a tax accountant. If you're good with numbers, hey, that's cool. If you're good with computers, that's really cool too. I know there's a lot of people with Asperger's that go to school for fixing computers. I mean, if you're good at algebra and you can make it through algebra, you can make it through computer science. Um, Me personally, I really don't think we need algebra or stuff for computer science, but that's just my opinion. Um, Most programs do require a 2.0 GPA, a C average for graduating programs, so Um, Teachers will ask their students to develop goals inserted in their IEP. That's their individualized education program. Adult service agencies may be invited to participate since they may be finding the student's needs after he or she leaves high school or reaches the age of 21. But don't assume a young adult is merely transferring to equal disability systems. One for children, one for children and one for adults. The adult system is different. It works different. That's obviously how it goes. I'm sure it's pretty similar in all the states across the U.S. Like I said, I don't do much about it. I it's a big transition. It's a student with disability who is eligible for U.S. special education services is guaranteed to receive them until he or she turns 21. Not so with adult services. That same student may be eligible for adult service such as housing assistance, which is based on income, so that could be like 30% of your income. Um, Supported employment. So whatever your state is, and we call it Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, you may be eligible for that. And job training. So you might be eligible for resume development stuff, or eligible for many programs. Um, Let me hear. Hold on here. But whether he or she receives funding depends on the funding. States often administer such programs through developmental disability and vocational rehabilitation services. The states set their own guidelines for eligibility and funding. Many states have waiting lists for adult services. Some can be 60 days, some can be 100 days. Um, I know, I'm not too sure about that. Your best bet would be to research it. I'm sorry if I'm drinking so much water, but my mouth gets very dry. Hold on here, I'm going to be right back.